Hello, everybody, and welcome to the New Flame Sports Podcast. And yes, I'm back at the squeaky table, so if you hear that again, I'm sorry. But anyway, last week was, or I guess now at this, it's still last week. I don't know what I'm saying. Anyway, last week were the AFC and NFC divisional playoff games. There were 4 games, which means 4 winners, which means 2 games today because it's Sunday because we didn't record yesterday. But anyway. Let's start with the AFC divisional playoff game that we're gonna talk about. The one is the Browns at Chiefs game. And I feel so bad for all Browns fans like you, Kareem and Dean. It's so painful. Y'all were so close. One bad call away from possibly winning the game, and the refs just missed it. Obviously with a minute left. Just around a minute in the second half, or not second half, second quarter, first half, Daniel Sorensen hit Rashard Higgins helmet to helmet, which caused him to fumble, and the ball went out of the back of the end zone, which means that it's a touchback for the Chiefs get the ball at the Browns 20 at their own 20-yard line, which is not good. I think that rule should be changed. I think that helmet to helmet hits should be reviewable. I just think if you're all about the safety of your players, then if a ref just misses a helmet to helmet call like they did, then I just think that'll lead to that happening more, and players getting away with it more, because if the refs just aren't paying attention and a guy hits a guy helmet to helmet, then it's just bad, because if you're all about player safety and you're preaching about, we got to keep our players safe, we're using all this advanced technology, like new helmets, new pads, new everything, to keep our players safe, then you just go out and do this type of stuff. Not only is it a bad look for the NFL, saying that the refs missed an obvious bad call, and not only did they miss a bad call, it's saying that, if the refs aren't paying attention, you'll get away with it, which just shouldn't be allowed. I don't think that's a good look for the NFL at all. So, obviously, you two, Kareem and Dean, were some of the Browns fans that were affected by this. So I'll let you go. I'll let you guys go ahead and talk about the game, and what do you think about the helmet to helmet hits rule being reviewable, and the fumbling out the back of the end zone, because honestly, during the halftime report, one of the guys, he was in the middle, I forgot what his name was, he said it perfectly. He was like, you didn't technically lose the ball. The defense didn't pick it up. You still had possession. The last time someone had possession, you still had it, so therefore, he said that the offense should get the ball from the 20-yard line. So anyway, I just want to hear your guys' opinions on that, so I'll give it over to you guys too. What do you think about that?
Okay, so obviously I was very frustrated, I was annoyed, disappointed, but it was a bad call, it was horrible, and I think you should be able to review non-calls, or at least helmet-to-helmets that you believe weren't called. But I think the real thing is, you can't leave it, you shouldn't leave it to a ref's decision to win the game, because a ref's still a human. Humans make mistakes. It's part of human nature. And the Browns weren't able to capitalize down in the stretch. They punted on 4th down, and Chad Henne beat them. And, the Chiefs are a great team, and I don't know how the Browns let Chad Henne scramble for 13 and a half yards on a 3rd and 14, because that should not have happened. I'm not saying you put a QB spy on him, but I'm also not saying that you don't leave a contain on him. So I don't really understand why the Browns they did a lot of what they did against the Steelers. They ran a lot of prevent and cover 4s, and they put guys deep. And the Chiefs really took him by surprise. It's not like it was a designed run. I mean, he had to cut some time, nothing was open, and he scrambled and got down to fourth and inches. Which, if you can't get inches, I don't know why you're playing. But I mean, yeah, the Browns didn't capitalize. But yeah, should have been called, and I mean, the Chiefs didn't score anything else. So, I mean, technically, you can say that if the Browns would have gotten that touchdown, including the PAT, score would have been 24-22 game. And I am a believer in that statement, but I also think you can't leave the game up to a human to make the decision on one call. So I'm going to give this up to Dean to see what he thinks about it. Honestly, I'm just gonna start right off with the Chad Henne thing. I feel like the big reason why the Browns really couldn't take as well as they should have is because their game plan was not meant to defend Chad Henne. They all season, except for I guess the Chargers game, um, they weren't really prepared for Chad Henne, so they really didn't know what would happen. So I do feel like that is a big part of the reason, but still, the defense obviously having problems throughout the whole season. I think, according to Pro Football Focus, is a 31st defense with rank in the league. So that's obviously really bad. Joe Woods, the defensive coordinator, I think he either should be fired or the Browns just need to get some defensive studs in the draft. But going back to the game, throughout the whole game, the Browns just weren't playing too well, especially like for the first half. They let the Chiefs go up by multiple scores. So I feel like that definitely had something to do with it. Obviously, defense not playing too well there. Obviously, within inches, they ran a play, which if I'm being honest with you, I bet no one expected, but I expected it because they wanted it. I expected it because I just had a bad feeling that they were going to call play and the Browns weren't going to be ready for it for two reasons. One, the Browns defense is just not good, so they should have ran a play anyway. And two, no one was expecting it, and that's why I expected it because they wanted to do the impossible, I guess, and seal the game. So now I'm going to hand it back over to Andrew.
Yeah, I do agree with you, Kareem. I don't think you should have to leave it up to a. I see what you're saying. Like, you shouldn't have to leave it up to a human to make a mistake, but at the same time, and like, you could, like, now, obviously, this one wasn't as obvious as the Nolan no call a few years ago, but I still don't understand how you missed that. And both times, the ref was standing, like, 3 feet away. How do you miss it? I feel like this one.
The ref was on the pylon, pretty much.
Yeah, and the play was at the pylon. The ref was at the pylon, and then the Nolan no call a few years ago, the ref was literally 3 yards away, and I see what you're saying. You shouldn't have to leave it up to a human who makes mistakes, but at the same time, if you're preaching about player safety and you're just gonna let players get away with this, do I think Daniel Sorensen should be fined? Yes. Do I think he should be suspended? Maybe not. I definitely do think he should be fined. I think anyone who does an illegal hit on a player should be at least fined. I don't think it would lead to an ejection unless it's just career ending. Like, obviously you wouldn't be able to tell at the time, so I don't know why I said that. But anyway,
like a Vontez Burfict.
yeah, like a Vontez Burfict on Antonio Brown. Was he ejected from that game? I think he was.
He was for his hit on Jack Doyle, I believe.
Oh, and
Nick Boyle, someone.
Oh yeah, one of the.
I also believe he was ejected for the hit on Antonio Brown.
Yeah, but like, yeah, but yeah, so I just think that it should be reviewable because of the, like the player safety thing and all that. I just don't think it makes much sense. But anyway, on to the next game. This one makes me very sad. Buccaneers and Saints. Drew Brees, final career game, most likely. He hasn't officially retired as of yet, but it's very likely that he's going to. He played with a 11 cracked ribs, a partially punctured lung. And then his wife said a bunch of things on Instagram, like a torn,
like a torn rotator.
yeah, torn thing in his foot, another thing in his leg. I mean, like, if that stuff's real, like, your respect levels for Drew Brees just shoots up by a mile. But anyway, Drew Brees' final game, very sad. Final throw, which makes it even more sad, was an interception. So, I mean, but here's, I think the Saints, they were within grasp to win that game, even though they lost by 2 scores. The 2 punt returns in the first quarter killed them. The one that was on the block in the back, man, you just think, you get a punt return, you know how much momentum that carries? And then the Bucks just get bailed out by a penalty? Like punt returns are not easy. It's the reason why they're like one of the least common versions of scoring in the NFL, because they're hard to do. And so the fact that Deontay Harris was able to do that, but then just obviously got called back because of block in the back, I just think that the punt return would have changed the whole narrative of that game. I think the Saints would have gone up 10-0 early instead of 6-0. I don't think that I just don't think the Bucks are a team that are built to come from behind necessarily. Now, granted, you would say that with teams like running teams like the Ravens or the Titans, but I don't think Arians is a coach built to come from behind. So that's why I think if the Packers, we'll talk about this later, but if the Packers can get a good jump on the Buccaneers early, they will be able to win that game. But yeah, I just think those 2 punt returns really changed, just flipped the narrative of that game. Obviously there were chances where the Saints could have just taken the momentum and ran with the Jameis Winston 56-yard touchdown pass. Tried what the Bears did, and Bears failed. Meanwhile, the Bucks succeeded. Meanwhile, the Saints succeeded. My bad. But yeah. So yeah. But here's the thing: Tom Brady didn't even play well. He had less than 200 yards. He had I believe his completion percentage was like below or right at 50%. But the Bucks defense really won that game in the 3 interceptions that Brees threw. So, I mean, really, it's unfortunate that Drew Brees has to go out like this, losing to one of his best rival to a rival, Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. But yeah, obviously Drew Brees, leader first in yards, touchdowns, completions, first downs, by passing the ball. Just so many of these records that he holds, and you look at his career, I believe he only has like 1 MVP and 1 Super Bowl, and you're like, man, that's really unfortunate. I mean, I would have loved to have seen Drew Brees get another ring. I would have loved to see him get another MVP, but unfortunately, this injury was like just the straw that broke the camel's back this year, and I honestly think if he didn't get injured, he would have played 1 more year. Because I still think he would have been able to go, but unfortunately that injury did happen, and so now we're left with the reality that is Drew Brees likely to retire. But yeah, like I said, he hasn't officially retired yet, but I'm expecting here within the next month and a half that he will announce his retirement. But other guys that have retired, Phillip Rivers, 17-year career with 16 with the Chargers, 1 with the Colts. I think he's an obvious Hall of Famer in my opinion. He's never won a Super Bowl. I don't think he's ever won an MVP, but I just think his stats for playing for 17 years have really proved himself to make the Hall of Fame. So yeah, Phillip Rivers, Drew Brees, one's retiring for sure, and another not so sure, but likely. But yeah, and then the last guy that has retired, that's of note, is Steelers tight end Vance McDonald. When I heard the news, I looked up his stats, and I was like, wow, he had a better career than I thought he did. Over 2,000 yards receiving, which is not, like, amazing, but I had never thought of him as, like amazing like that. Obviously, that's not, like, super good for an 8-year career, but still, I never knew that he had 2,000 yards receiving. But anyway, yeah, Steelers tight end Vance McDonald, I'm not so sure why he retired. I think it was just because he wasn't getting a whole lot of playing time, and, so yeah, Vance McDonald, Phillip Rivers, Drew Brees, happy retirement for you guys. Yeah, good kudos for all of you. So yeah, that does it for the retirement section. And now onto the conference championship games: Bills at Chiefs, Buccaneers at Packers. Let's start with the early game at 3:05 Eastern today. Probably we'll be seeing this after the game starts, possibly after it ends. But um, yeah, Bucks at Packers. These teams have played before. I think it was week 8, 6, something like that. Bucks won 38-10 in Tampa, but I don't think that'll happen again. I just don't see it anyway in the world that happening. These teams are just different now. Obviously, the Packers have really picked up steam since that game. Aaron Rodgers has played like an MVP. The Bucks went through that tough stretch with when they played the Rams and the Chiefs and all those, and they lost all those games. But Packers, they're just a different team now. I think back they just didn't have enough confidence, but now they do. But yeah, anyway, injuries for these teams. Antonio Brown, the Bucks' big play threat, will not play. And as of right now, Antoine Winfield Jr. is questionable. Now, this was the injury report from Friday, so I'm not sure if he's been upgraded to downgraded to doubtful, or playing or not playing. I don't know what's going on there. So yeah, but the Packers, Kevin King, I believe he's a cornerback, is questionable yet again. I don't know if that's been upgraded or downgraded or anything like that. But obviously, if Winfield doesn't play, that's a big loss for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's just one of those guys that just brings a competitive nature to the game. He's really like I think he's the type of guy that guys like to be around and play with. So that would be a big loss for Tampa. And then for Green Bay, Kevin King, I believe he's like their second or third cornerback on the roster. Obviously, with Chris Godwin and Mike Evans and Rob Gronkowski and Cameron Braid and Ronald Jones, you're going to need all the defensive help that you can get. So I think that's going to be a big loss. It's not going to be a super big loss, but it is going to, maybe leave some guys open for Tom Brady and the Buccaneers offense to march down the field. But yeah, that's really it for injuries. Not as many as the Bills-Chiefs games, I'll tell you that much. But yeah, we'll do our game picks after we talk about this game. But yeah, next game, Bills and Chiefs also have played before. I believe it was week 6. Chiefs won 26-17, 9-point victory, and yeah, just much like the Packers, I don't think the Bills were the team that you're seeing now. They weren't firing on all cylinders. Yes, Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs had that connection, but you didn't see guys like Gabriel Davis or Zach Moss, or I guess he's out, or Devin Singletary even, or even Dawson Knox make contributions to the team early on in the season. It was just Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, but now Allen has been getting Beasley and Davis and Knox involved in the offensive game plan. So yeah, I think this game is going to be much different, much different than what we saw in week 6. So yeah, I'm going to give it to Dean to go ahead and give his game picks first. So yeah.
Okay, so for the NFC game, the early game, the Packers or the Bucks at the Packers in Lambeau. Like Andrew said, it was a blowout in Tampa Bay last time they met, but I really don't think that's gonna happen. Uh, just the Packers. They really blew up this season, even though they did lose pretty badly in Tampa Bay. I feel like the Bucks got a pretty easy and lucky win, and when they played the Saints last week, and so Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, Aaron Jones, all those guys. I really think they'll really take it to the Bucks, and just like Andrew said, if the Packers can get a really good jump on the Bucks early on, I think this game won't be too close because Bruce Arians, I don't think he can really start a comeback in the second half of the game. And then going to the Steelers versus the
Steelers.
Chiefs, or Bills versus the Chiefs. My bad, not Steelers. I don't know. I said Steelers. I have to go with the Bills just because you know the Chiefs barely beating the Browns, and even though Patrick Mahomes is likely to play, I really think that um I really think that the Bills, like you said, Devin Singletary, Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Dawson Knox, I really think they'll take it to the Chiefs defense with which isn't too um how do I say this? Isn't too anything too special. I mean, they have an amazing safety in Tyrann Mathieu, but I don't really think they can win. And even if Chad Henne plays tonight, I just obviously it still won't happen if Chad Henne's playing. Um, but Patrick Mahomes recently, I think it was a couple of days ago, was taken off concussion protocol list, and now uh, he may have turf toe, and he may need surgery after the season for that. So I don't know if he'd want to aggravate that anymore. So I gotta go with the Bills in this game and the Packers in the next game. And I remember when we were doing um, the playoff picks, I had the Bills versus the Packers, and that's the main reason why I want them to win. So my predictions are going to be right. So I'm going to hand this one over to Kareem now. Okay, so AFC Championship. I'll start with that, even though it's the later game. Obviously, the Bills going into Arrowhead to face off a slightly injured Patrick Mahomes, obviously just coming off of concussion protocol and turf toe issues. So what I'm gonna say is the Bills take this one because I didn't really find that the Chiefs could do much against the Bills. I think Josh Allen is gonna throw them into a win. I can't see the Chiefs winning this one just because obviously they've had a lot of issues, a lot of injuries. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and guys like that who will be out. I'm pretty sure. So yeah, I'm taking the Bills in this game. And Packers versus Bucks. Obviously, we all know what happened more early to mid-season, where the Bucks um, were at home and punched the Packers in the gut and destroyed them. It wasn't close. It was just not the MVP Aaron Rodgers we saw. He was throwing picks. And the Bucks played a good game, and I mean, you have to give him credit for that. Tom Brady played well. Everything was clicking for them. It's one of those nights where just nothing seems to go wrong, and you get off to a nice start, and you just keep going. But I think it's going to be different. I think Aaron Jones is going to come back with his revenge game against Tom Brady. I think the Super Bowl, like Dean said, Bills versus Packers. I'm going to say the Packers win this game. I do think it's going to be close because I think the Buccaneers have a good defense, even though obviously Antoine Winfield is questionable. They've still got a lot of young guys, they've won a lot of vets too, like Levante David, but they also have Devin White, Jamal Dean, and obviously Antoine Winfield. And they have some underrated guys like Scotty Miller, who I think is quite underrated. He didn't have a huge game, but he did come up big when he needed to against the Saints. So I'm going to take the Packers in this game and against the Bucks, but I do think it will be pretty close.
Yeah, I forgot to mention this, but injuries for the Bills, injuries for this game in general. Mahomes obviously will play, we know that, but he's dealing with turf toe and a possible concussion. So possibly that'll drive the Bills to, hit him extra hard. Obviously not trying, to hurt him for the long term, but, I don't know how to put this without sounding mean in a way, but trying to shake him up a little bit, I'll say that. But yeah, Watkins, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Le'Veon Bell, all questionable as of Friday. I don't know if that's changed. I probably should have done more research, but we were in a hurry. But Bashad Breeland was taken off concussion protocol along with Mahomes and also will play. And for the Bills, Gabriel Davis is questionable. Yet again, don't know if that's changed. But I do know that Stephon Diggs, Anthony Bass, is that it? Cole Beasley and Tremaine Edmonds will all play. All very big for that team. Obviously, if you don't have Diggs and Beasley, that's tough. But anyway, but for my game picks, I'm gonna start with the Bucks at Packers. I'm gonna go with the Packers, just like you guys. I just don't think the 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 Bucks have the defensive firepower, I guess, to keep up with the Packers, because obviously they have a lot of talent. Devin White, Levante David, Shaquille Barrett, their safeties, and Antoine Winfield if he plays. But yeah, I just don't know if they're going to be able to keep up with MVP form Aaron Rodgers. He played like it last week. He's played like it the past 5 weeks. Since that game, he has been on a rampage looking for that MVP, and he's going to get it. But yeah, I just don't think the Bucks will be able to keep up on defense and offense. I think this is going to be high scoring. I don't think there are going to be many defensive stops. However, I do think it is going to come down to a defensive stop. I do think whoever has the ball last will not win, because they're going to have to score and the defense is going to step up. So, I just feel like I just think that's how this game is going to end. So yeah, I'm going to take the Packers. And now for the Bills at Chiefs, I'm going to say the Bills. I just don't see, they're the hottest team in football, in my opinion. Maybe besides the Packers. In the AFC, they're the hottest team. They might be looking to shake up Mahomes a little bit. Obviously, if Mahomes tries to juke or takes a step weird and he re-aggravates that turf toe, that could possibly knock him out for the game. So yeah, I think the Bills are gonna win this. I'm gonna bold prediction. I think the Bills win by 2 possessions, by 2 scores. I mean, more than 8 points, 9 and more points. I think that's gonna be the margin of victory. Yeah, bold prediction. So anyway, now that we have our game picks, I guess we probably should have done this earlier. But top performers at quarterback, we're gonna go with the MVP Aaron Rodgers. 23 for 36, 296 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's just what he's been doing all season. That's what's gonna win him MVP. And also had a nice rushing touchdown. Juked out Leonard Floyd, I believe it was, who's having a nice season himself. Running back, and we're only gonna do one just because of the limited teams. But we're gonna give this to Aaron Jones, 14 for 99 and a touchdown. Obviously helped that he had that big 60-yard run, but we're gonna have to take that into consideration. So Aaron Jones gets that. Wide receiver, we're gonna give this to Tyreek Hill, who had I believe, was it 9 receptions for 109 yards. However, no touchdowns. Let's see. 8 receptions for 110 and no touchdowns. Just another vintage Tyreek Hill. Around 10 receptions, 100 plus yards game. Wide receiver 2, we're gonna give this to Traquan Smith. Had 96 yards. I believe it was. 85 yards and 2 touchdowns. Obviously caught that big touchdown from Jameis Winston, but still 2 touchdowns is nothing to laugh about. And then Travis Kelce is gonna be the tight end. And so yeah. That he had 9 receptions for 109 yards and a touchdown. A big reason as to why the Chiefs won that game. Really destroyed Denzel Ward's ankles. I hate to say it. He really did. So yeah. On to the defensive side of the ball. We're gonna give this to Jerry Hughes, who had 2 sacks. Big reason as to why the Bills won that game versus the Ravens, 17-3. Low-scoring game, I might add. Linebacker Devin White had a forced fumble. Had 10 tackles around there? Had a big forced fumble for the Buccaneers, and then another Buccaneers for the secondary. Sean Murphy-Bunting had the pick 6, just put the nail in the coffin for the Saints. So yeah, that's gonna do it for top performers. And yeah, on to the NFL news. Matt Stafford and the Lions have agreed to part ways now. He hasn't been released or anything like that, but they have agreed. Stafford was like, "Look, man, look, my guys, you got to trade me. I and it's been a long time coming. Detroit, I just feel so bad. You you're the definition of disappointment. You're always like, yeah, the Lions are gonna be amazing this year. They signed all these guys in free agency. They drafted this really good guy. They're gonna be amazing this year, but then they're just not. I feel so bad for the fans of the Detroit Lions. Um, Obviously, now with the number 9 pick, they could take someone like Mac Jones, possibly. I think could fall to him, fall to their Kyle Trask, which I don't think they would obviously take Mac Jones over Kyle Trask. Um, but yeah, now with the 9th pick, I think the Lions can finally, Matt Stafford can finally free himself of Detroit. The Lions will be lucky if they get a 5th round pick for him. At this point, they're just looking to dump salary. But possible trade candidates. Obviously, all the teams that are in the trade rumor for Deshaun Watson, teams like the Pats, the 49ers, the Jets, anyone like that. So, yeah, I think those could be some possible landing spots for Matt Stafford. So, yeah, speaking of the Lions, without Matt Stafford, they will have a new offensive coordinator that'll be former Chargers head coach Anthony Lynn. I think this is a good move. He always had a good offensive mind. He's just, I guess, lack of clock management skills was the reason he lost the job in Los Angeles. So yeah, I'm gonna give it to you guys to think. What do you think about these Lions moves?
So I'm kind of confused. I don't really know why this is happening. It's I can't tell if he didn't like Matt Patricia,
That could be it.
which wouldn't make sense if he wants to leave now because he got fired like week 4.
No, it was like no,
I don't
no.
know
People
if
were
he doesn't
asking for
like
him
the
to be
new.
fired.
I don't know if he doesn't like the new coach they hired. But
No, no. It's probably because he has been stuck in Detroit and the definition
Lions have
of
sucked. Oh, so that
disappointment. The Lions
yeah,
are just bad. So yeah, I think that's
they
why.
are bad.
And and Detroit does and Stafford deserves so much better than Detroit. So I think that was it. So yeah, continue, Clean. My bad.
I mean, it's kind of weird. I mean, they got Jeff Okuda and DeAndre Swift in the same draft, who turned out to be incredible players.
Jeff.
It's kind of weird why he'd want to leave. I mean, probably something that Patricia did. There's probably something going on in that building. I'm not really too informed about this, so I don't really know that much. But I don't really know how I feel about this. But I'm gonna just hand it off to Dean to see what he thinks. Um, this is pretty confusing. I feel like it was kind of just super random. Just like Kareem said, with the whole Matt Patricia thing being released in what was it, week 4?
No. People were asking for him to be fired week 4. He wasn't fired until after the Thanksgiving game, I believe it was, which was
Yeah,
like week 8, 9, 10.
Yeah, I thought it was a Thanksgiving thing. Um, so I really don't know why he would request a trade right now. I feel like he should have gave it one more year, and he is a very expensive player, 5 years, $130 million. So if I mean he'll still get some money if he does get traded, but I did some research, and the number one trade rumor right now is Matthew Stafford for 49ers quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo. And I really don't think this is a good deal for the Lions. I feel like if the Niners get this, they get a veteran quarterback who's been in the league for a long time. And a player who really, he has shown a lot, Matthew Stafford. He's not a bad quarterback. And Jimmy Garoppolo this year, obviously going from a Super Bowl appearance to not making the playoffs,
I mean,
not
the
even being
injuries.
close to making the playoffs.
The injuries, though.
So I think that if I'm the Lions, I do what Matt Stafford says, but Again, he is really expensive. Like I said,
Yeah, he
5
is.
years, $130 million. So, it is really a confusing trade. Because Matt Patricia's gone, and he's not giving it another year to see what happens. So that's really my take on this whole situation.
I think it was just upon years of disappointment in Detroit for Matt Stafford. But speaking of the Lions again, Matt Patricia is rejoining the Patriots for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know. I just saw the headline and I was like, oh man, that's hilarious. That is hilarious. So yeah, Matt Patricia's back with the Patriots. Some sort of defensive coach, I believe. But yeah, another odd coaching move is journeyman quarterback Josh McCown has interviewed with the Texans to be their head coach, and at this point, Deshaun Watson's just gonna be like, just hire Bieniemy at this point. I feel so bad for him. Like just hire Bieniemy, Texans. Make Deshaun happy, but even then, he's still likely to be traded. But yeah, Texans need Bieniemy. I think Josh McCown could be a good quarterback coach, I guess, but not a head coach. I don't think. Hey, but if they hire him, prove me wrong. Josh McCown. Yeah. Next, some Super Bowl news. 7,500 vaccinated. That's important here. Healthcare workers will be given tickets to Super Bowl 55. I mean, it's good that they're gonna be able to do it. That they're having fans and that they're celebrating these people who put their lives on the line to help with the pandemic. But yeah, I think that's a good move by the NFL. I think it should have happened. So yeah. More Super Bowl news. The first ever woman Super Bowl official. I mean, good for her. I've seen her in refereeing plenty of games on Fox. She refereed the game last week between the Bucks and Saints. So yeah, good for her. Next, man, this is hilarious. Are the Steelers at this point trying to make the least likable team of all time? Juju Smith-Schuster and Chase Claypool, and they just signed Dwayne Haskins. Dwayne Haskins. This man is one of the biggest busts since Johnny Manziel. You know, now I don't know if they were trying to pull like a. Oh yeah, I'm sorry I mentioned Mr. Johnny, but anyway, like, are they trying to do like an Alex Smith, Patrick Mahomes thing? Because if they did, Alex Smith was with Haskins this year, and that clearly didn't work. Dwayne Haskins is just not meant for the NFL. I don't know any other way to put it. And now he signs with the Steelers. I kid you not, the Steelers are trying to make the least likable team of all time. Like, I don't think there's a team more unlikable than the Steelers in the NFL. Maybe you could say the Patriots just because of years prior, but they're bad now. The Patriots are bad. We don't have to not like them anymore. I still don't like them, but I dislike the Steelers more. My least favorite teams now go Steelers, Patriots, and I don't know. It's just those two. But anyway, yeah. It's just like Steelers. What are you doing? You have Ben Roethlisberger, who you gave an extension to. It's just I think the Steelers are trying to pull some like Galaxy Brain 2000 IQ play here. Be like, just outsmart everyone, every GM in the NFL. So yeah, I this move confuses me. I don't understand why they did it. It's Dwayne Haskins after all. But yeah, I'm gonna give it. Oh, that did not sound good. I'm gonna give it over to you guys to say what you guys think about this move by the Steelers.
Well, I know Steelers fans ain't happy because, I mean, I know they weren't happy when Big Ben said that he wants to return, and now I know they're definitely not happy with the signing of Dwayne Haskins. So I'm not sure if this is like a Saints Jameis Winston move where it's like they got Jameis Winston like to pretty much be like the guy after Drew Brees. And I mean, on the cameras, you could hear Drew Brees not here, but you could read the lips, and he said like, "This is your team now, it's Jameis Winston." So I'm gonna say I don't really know how to feel about this, but I don't know, but I think they are trying to make the all-time hated team. Because I'm a Browns fan, I hate the Steelers more than anyone in the world, and I hate the Ravens. I hate all teams in the AFC North except the Bengals. The Bengals are fine because they suck, but yeah, I don't know what's going on with the Steelers. I mean, they should have tried to get like a Mac Jones or a Kyle Trask in the draft if they really wanted someone to back up, uh,
Yeah,
or like be that kind of guy
yeah,
that's
because
ready
yeah,
after
because
Ben
Kyle Trask
Roethlisberger.
probably would have likely to fall into like number.
Um, Steelers. Um, just the all-time hated team. They just signed a player who is only on a one-year deal, but obviously, like Andrew said, is not meant for the NFL. He can't play in the NFL. He can't mature to be an NFL player. He does things off the field which are unacceptable. And now he's signed a contract with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Oh my gosh. This is a sign of multiple things. I think the number one reason is Ben's career is coming to an end.
Definitely.
Very, very soon. But what also comes into mind is the ignorance of this team. They already have Mason Rudolph.
Yeah,
They
like why
already
do you
have
need
Josh
a backup?
Dobbs. I'm pretty sure Mason Rudolph's still with them. I'm
He
pretty
is.
sure.
He is.
And then they sign, probably a third string quarterback.
Yeah.
They don't need you don't need four quarterbacks in the depth chart.
You need 3 at the most.
So again, this is super confusing that they would sign a player that obviously has personality issues, and they already have 3 other quarterbacks, including a 100% first ballot Hall of Famer. So it really just doesn't make sense to me. Why would they sign a player like Dwayne Haskins? I don't know what they're trying to do there over in Pittsburgh. They don't need a replacement for Big Ben because they already have 2 quarterbacks there to do it. He's only on a 1-year deal, Dwayne Haskins. So I don't really know why they have him if it's just for a 1-year deal. It's not like they're not going to sign him back. I mean, he's just one of those players that is never going to do anything for any team, and he's just going to bounce around the league. So, I really don't know what's going on. So I'm just going to send it back to you, Andrew.
And the last piece of NFL news before we head into the MLB news is the Ravens release Mark Ingram and OG3. Poor OG3. I feel so bad for him. Injuries, man. The downfall of everyone's career is injuries. But anyway, this was just a salary dump. They don't need him anymore. Ravens have obviously Lamar Jackson, Trace McSorley, and Jamal Huntley, who he looked good in the few minutes that he played in the Bengals game. But yeah. And then Mark Ingram, they just don't need him anymore. And he was going to take up $5 million cap space in 2021. So they were like, you know what? We don't need you. They got Dobbins. They got Edwards. They got Lamar, who's practically a running back. So, and he doesn't even add anything on like special teams, like a punt return or anything like that. So, it just made a lot of sense for them to do this. He was inactive in both of their playoff games. It was just inevitable that it was going to happen. So yeah, Mark Ingram and OG3 are now free agents. To be honest, they're both going to be backups wherever they go, in my opinion. I think OG3, I feel so bad for the guy. He was so good, and then injuries, just like Andrew Luck, they just derailed his career. Now he's likely to be a backup or retire. He might retire. But anyway, that is going to do it for the NFL portion. And now on to the MLB news. We actually had some breaking news while we were recording. Jameson Taillon to the New York Yankees, another right-handed starting pitcher, yet again. I will keep saying this for the rest of eternity. We need the lefties. I don't understand this. But anyway, we get Jameson Taillon from the Pirates. He's been a decent starter for the Pirates in his career, and I think he could add some just depth for us. Obviously, I believe I saw that we traded a few pitchers. Actually, one of them was the Miguel Yajure guy, who was the first guy to ever wear number 89 in an MLB game. He completed 0 through 99. So yeah, I mean he's always got that on for him, going for him. But yeah, Jameson Taillon, Pittsburgh will receive pitchers Miguel Yajure and Rosani Contreras, infielder Michael Escoto, and outfielder Cannon Smith. No clue who any of those guys are. I'm sorry. But yeah, Jameson Taillon was the number 2 pick in the 2010 draft. 14-game winner for the Pirates in 2018. Yeah, I think this is a good move for us. Obviously, we still need lefties. But yeah, he'll go nice in that number 3 spot in the rotation. So I think now with the signing of Kluber and trading for Taillon, we no longer need Domingo Germán. We no longer need a guy like that on the team. And quite frankly, he had trouble giving up home runs, and in a game where home run is becoming the only way to score, I just don't think we need him anymore. So yeah. Good trade by the Yankees, I think. Still need lefties. Would have liked it if we got a lefty. But yeah, Pirates full rebuild mode. They released or traded Josh Bell about right at Christmas. Traded Taillon. Joe Musgrove is on the move. So yeah. Poor Pirates fans, I feel so bad for you. So anyway. Now on to the news that I was able to put down. Joe Musgrove to the Padres and Joey Lucchesi to the Mets. Good moves by both teams. I think the Padres are obviously they're trying to compete with the Dodgers for best starting rotation in the MLB. It's like the Dodgers, the Padres were, obviously the Dodgers had the better one last year, but then the Padres go out and get Darvish and Snell, and then the Dodgers get someone, and then it's just a back and forth battle before these teams go. And as of right now, the Dodgers' number 3 starter is a guy by the name of David Price. I believe he might be one of, if not the best number 3 starting pitchers in the MLB. Actually, no, I'd probably give that to Nelson Lamet of the Padres, ironically. So anyway, Padres and Dodgers. This is gonna be a fun rivalry this year. I think it might be one of the best, because obviously the Yankees, Red Sox would obviously be the best, but the Red Sox are just not great anymore. But so yeah, Joe Musgrove to the Padres, good move, and then Joey Lucchesi to the Mets. That's also good for a team that just needs pitching depth. He'll provide that. And he would never pitch for the Padres. So I think they would just you know what, just get him out. Just get him out of here. The Padres are we don't need you anymore. You can go to the Mets, which I don't like. But anyway, George Springer, one of the last A-tier free agents to sign, 6 years, $150 million. That's a lot of money. But yeah, signs with the Blue Jays in that outfield now, man. That's a scary outfield, because in left, you'll most likely have Lourdes Gurriel Jr., great contact hitter, great defense, great speed. In center, you'll have George Springer for at least 2 or 3 or even 4 more years in center field before he has to move to DH or a corner outfield spot. But yeah, so yeah, I think this is a good move by the Blue Jays. That outfield gets scarier, because you also have Teoscar Hernandez and Randall Grichuk, who's a great number 4 outfielder, I might add. He was really good last year. So yeah, but here's another signing by the Blue Jays, by the Toronto Blue Jays, Michael Brantley. Oh wait, nope, he's back with the Astros. I think it's almost like MLB media is trying to be so relevant that they'll just be willing to make up fake stories in order to get clout or whatever. It's bro, just report facts. just report facts, please. Like, you don't need to be first for everything. It's ridiculous. But yeah, Michael Brantley's back with the Astros. I think for a team that just is now, I think, they're in that stage between rebuild mode and are we still competitive? Because they barely made it into the playoffs last year. If Jose Altuve plays like he did in 2019 again, obviously they lost Springer. Greinke most likely won't be himself. Justin Verlander won't be able to play. He has Tommy John. But then you also have guys like Kyle Tucker and Yuli Gurriel and Yordan Alvarez who's gonna make that team good. So it's like, are we in tank mode or are we not? No one knows anymore for the Astros. But two smaller pitching moves, both left-handed starting pitchers, both guys I would have liked to gotten. Jose Quintana to the Angels. Yet again, this just adds pitching depth. I'm not going to spend too much on either of these. Just adds pitching depth for the Angels. Good move by them. I think it's a short, cheap deal. He hasn't been the same since he joined the Cubs. He just wasn't the same when he was on the Cubs versus on the White Sox. Next guy, J.A. Happ to the Twins. And oh man, I would have liked to have re-signed him, but that's just not going to happen. But anyway, Twins, I think this is a good move. He's going to be a guy who's going to give you a 4.5 ERA. He's very old. He's probably one of his last years in the league, if not his last. Just yet again, more pitching depth for that team that needs a lot of pitching help. They also need to re-sign Nelson Cruz, which they have yet to do. So that's a big problem as well. Nothing, and really no rumors about where Nelson Cruz would go either. But now some rumors, some nice rumors we got going here. JT Realmuto to the Braves. This is like that would just put them over the top as one of the best teams. Because they were already really good, obviously, as they made the NLCS. But just the fact that they would add the best catcher in the league, so now obviously that's the best catching duo, Travis d'Arnaud and JT Realmuto. Possibly Realmuto could play, like the outfield, or, if, which they should, take note of that, MLB, if they add the universal DH, Travis d'Arnaud would DH and JT Realmuto would catch. I think that would be a good move by the Braves. Obviously, they were just that one piece, and I don't think it was on offense. I think it was on the pitching side. But, maybe adding JT will just make up for that loss, and just put it in the pitching. So, anyway, yeah. Now, some sad news. This past week, two baseball legends have unfortunately passed away. Don Sutton and Hank Aaron, two of the greatest to ever play. Don Sutton's career ERA 3.26, 324 to 256 win and loss, 66.7 WAR, 3,574 strikeouts, 1.142 WHIP. One of the best pitchers of all time for the Dodgers, Hall of Fame. He's won an ERA title. So he played for a long time. And he was relatively young. He was still only 75 years old. And unfortunately, it just like with any celebrity or athlete death, we all are very sad because you never want to see anyone as great as a player or anyone to ever pass away, and unfortunately for these two guys, it just happened to be now. The other guy, Hank Aaron, former home run leader, 755 home runs, 305 batting average, played for 20 years, 2,297 career RBIs. Man, it's one of the best to ever play the game. It's just so disheartening to see that to see these guys go. I mean, they were some of the best to ever play, and now the fact that they were just gone, Hank Aaron at 86 and Don Sutton at 75, just absolute legends for the game of baseball, and unfortunately, their time was now, and so yeah, Hank Aaron, Hall of Fame, 25-time All-Star, holy moly, 2-time batting title, MVP, 3 Gold Gloves, won a World Series. I mean, you look at these guys' careers and you're like, man, those were some insane careers, but, I mean, players out to their families, to their friends, so yeah, rest in peace, Hank Aaron and Don Sutton. You just never want to see anyone go. But yeah, now, I probably should have done this before, but yeah, I, for school, have recently read the David Wright memoir titled The Captain. It's amazing. I will just say that right off the bat. I think it's really insightful, and for a guy, who, and for me, who didn't, watch baseball when David Wright was at the top of his game, 2006 to 2013, that 7-year stretch, I was super young. I didn't watch baseball. I didn't know what it was. So just to, relive, just to go, read what his career was all about, to just read what he had to go throughout his entire career, and all the hardships and all the friends and all that he's made throughout his career. I think if you haven't read it, I definitely think you should. But yeah, I'll probably make a longer video explaining why I thought the book was so good, possibly sometime during this week. It would only be around 10 minutes long. So yeah, I might possibly do that. Let me know in the comments if you would like to see it. If you don't want to, that's fine. But yeah, I definitely think you should read it. Definitely an amazing book, titled The Captain by David Wright. It's might be one of my favorite books that I've read, and I'm not a guy to like nonfiction. I like books like Percy Jackson and Harry Potter, but I just think this book was so well written that yeah, I definitely it's amazing. So yeah, that's gonna do it for this week's episode of the New Flame Sports Podcast. If you liked it, go ahead and hit the like button, share these videos with your friends and family. Leave a comment. I love seeing the few comments that we do get. So yeah, leave them down in the comment section below. Let us know what you think. Give you takes on some of the things that we talked about. Matt Stafford, Dwayne Haskins, all that. So yeah, that's gonna do it. We'll see you next week.